Welcome. Stop. If you're strolling through or scrolling through, stop. If you are a buyer for real estate or a seller, you want to tune into this session. My guest, Mark Diehl from Diehl Realty, is going to share with us some tips on selling your home in what he calls, and I love how he puts it, a COVID sensitive market. So again, whether you're buying or selling, stop, listen to this broadcast. It's going to be hopefully less than 30 minutes, and happy Friday to you. So without further ado, I want to introduce my guest, Mark Diehl from Mark Diehl Realty. Welcome, Mark. And before we get,
thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, absolutely. I appreciate you being with us today and about this very timely topic. So before we get into the topic, can you share with us just your 30-second elevator speech? And not really elevator speech, but maybe 45 seconds. Tell us about Mark. How did you get into real estate, and anything you'd like to share on that?
Well, my background is actually in finance. And so by training, I'm a certified financial planner. And I was in the investment business for a long, long time. But a lot of my family is in the real estate business. My sister, my spouse, my sister-in-law. And so I was fortunate enough to move here and live on an island in Galveston, right outside of Houston. Yeah. And, I just basically, my product is Galveston. And I just help people find homes, but I'm just excited about the community. And so I've been in real estate for about 7 years now. Okay. And but our team, the team that I work with, we've got about 60 years of real estate experience. We have offices here in Galveston, in the historical area, and we also have offices in the Woodlands.
Yes, Coldwell Banker and Elisa Diehl, one of your family members, was kind enough to share you with us today. I'm so
glad you did.
Yeah, awesome. So let's just jump right in, and if you could share with us, I know the topic was selling your home in a COVID sensitive market, but we can also piggyback that into buying as well, and what some tips that you might like to share. So on that, you've got the floor.
Well, frankly, when COVID first started, when it first hit around February or March, those of us in real estate, we were concerned about, and for our clients, is anybody going to want to buy homes? And for instance, again, I'm in a lot of the real estate we sell here in Galveston are second homes.
Right.
And so the first thing my first impression was, nobody's going to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars or $1 million on a second home when we're concerned about the economy. Right. And what we learned is that was just completely, the market has been crazy ever since COVID started. I think there's several reasons for that. I think, again, we're in Galveston. Our market's a little unique. We're, for those of you in different parts of the country, we're a suburb of Houston, about 50 miles out of town. And I think the reason our market took off is because when flying in air travel became less attractive, people said, "Hey, let's buy a vacation house closer to home," and it was kind of a way of nesting. But then we also saw in the metropolitan areas of Houston, in the Woodlands, real estate has been crazy this year. So the market's been good. I think Mark, basically what I'm seeing
I just wanted to ask you, wasn't there
in the environment that we're going into 2020 with the political changes? I think it'll still be good.
Was there a little slowdown at all for like 60 days at all with the whole shutdown? Okay.
There was a time when we were, real estate was early on was determined to be a necessary profession.
Yes.
But we did for a period there, everything was completely shut down. We weren't doing any open houses.
Right.
And so that's been lightened up a little bit. As a realtor, I've been doing open houses on weekends. Mm-hmm. And so, that's kind of one of the things I think that we should talk about for folks that are selling their home in a COVID environment. It's your home, it's your property. So, some people have different opinions on, how strict, we should be with COVID. But if it's your property, you can set the rules, and so
Yes.
you can, and the realtor can list this in the multiple listing service.
Right.
That when realtors bring people to view the property, there's antiseptic, hand sanitizer right at the front door. Everybody, please, the property owner can require that everybody wear masks, or they may say, it's no big deal, but the property owner can specify that. Now, I will say also, one thing that the seller should look at is that visitors are coming into your home, in your space.
Yes.
And so they want to know. And incidentally, Kat, I think that's important. Why in the pictures, the staging and the furniture, and we'll talk about 3D home tours in a minute.
Yes.
But that, if you make that inviting, it makes people want to go from visiting that home on the internet and coming actually to see that house.
Absolutely. Which, we've said this many times, your first showing is online. So, that goes right into the Matterport and staging and pictures,
exactly,
et cetera. So I recently...
Now, I do open houses for a builder on the weekends.
Oh, okay.
And so we have a display there, and there's some individually wrapped paper masks, in like a little display. I always wear a mask. We have hand sanitizer everywhere. But I don't, I don't enforce it as strictly as I should when a guest comes, when somebody comes to visit the home. So sometimes people will come in. Most of them are wearing masks. Sometimes somebody will come in and, I'll just stay real far away from them.
Social distance. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't press it, but just, for the homeowner that's selling that home, they can, if they're concerned about COVID, they can set specific rules and just the basics: hand sanitizer, maybe keep some paper masks that are individually wrapped, by the door.
And I know I have seen also where the realtors limited the amount of people, in the space at one time. I was recently at an open house, and there was people, it was one I was hosting, people were waiting out in line because there was just too many people inside. That's a good thing.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a good thing. It sold that weekend, multiple offers, but people were waiting outside to let some people leave before they would come. So, of course, that's awesome for the home seller.
Right.
It's really, I think, comes down to the sensitivity of each person, each seller and or buyer, what they're comfortable with. Of course, they have to adhere to sellers' guidelines that the realtor shares with them. If they, suggest certain stipulations that you mentioned, they certainly want to adhere to that and just really be respectful.
Yeah, most of the realtors certainly don't. As realtors, we have our guidelines. We wear masks and all that. But most prospects, most visitors to your home don't have an issue with that.
Right.
So now in Galveston, down here, we actually sometimes, when I do an open house for a builder, I'll have extended families come in. So that's interesting.
Right.
You said that some property owners are limiting the number of guests that can come in, because I've had, as a matter of fact, recently I sold a property to a mom and dad in their 60s that came to an open house. They had their daughter and son-in-law in their 40s and two grandkids. And they were looking at beach houses, and that day was an experience for them. So and for the record, they all had their masks on, and they ended up purchasing,
Wonderful.
But the market in the Houston metro area, Galveston, Woodlands, it's been really, really brisk. So I don't think COVID has impacted that at all. One of the things we wanted to talk about, and I think it can help you sell your home, but also better qualify the people that are going to be strangers that are going to be walking through your house, and that's 3D tours. I think that can help qualify.
So before we jump into the 3D tours, Mark, which I know you're excited about, I'm excited to hear about it. How can you sell your home faster, as our topic was, in a COVID environment? Is there anything beyond what we talked about that would help a seller sell their home faster during this still somewhat sensitive market we're in?
Well, and we're going to talk about the home tours in a second. I honestly hate to, I think it's as simple as making that home as attractive as possible in those pictures. The clients, the prospects' first experience with your home is going to be on the internet. I mean, that's just the way, that's just the way it is.
Yep.
And so the staging that you do, the images that the photographer takes, that's a huge thing.
Critical.
I think that your realtor, I'm certainly, and the people that I work with, we're certainly open to doing open houses. So, and if I was hiring a realtor, if I was a buyer, or excuse me, if I was a seller hiring a realtor, I would ask some questions. I mean, there's sometimes a benefit working with a smaller realtor that doesn't have as many listings as maybe the number one realtor in your community that has 200 listings.
Absolutely.
Do you find the most successful realtor in your market, or do you find the hungriest realtor in your market? So
that has time for you, and that you're not just on a production, handed off as a production. So yes, that's a whole nother show, but yes, the pros and cons of really three things: not hiring a relative or hiring a relative, going with a small, to medium size production realtor, or going with a big team. Yeah, that's a whole nother show. So that's awesome. And I know, to take your advice on, of course, that first showing is online. It needs to look good. It needs to be staged to some degree. And the pictures need to look phenomenal for that first experience, because I think it used to be 87% of people are going to look at your property online first. It's gone up, of course.
I think it's got to be more.
Yeah, it's gone up since the whole COVID. So people have more time. They are online more. And more, you probably find as a realtor, your clients are finding the properties for you and then filtering them down. And they do exactly what you do. They're going to toss out the ones that don't look as great or don't have that emotional appeal. So let's go right into the 3D, which I know you're an expert on, the 3D tours that can help, during this time and really post-COVID, to create that emotional appeal.
Sure.
And more of an excitement, so that people want to take the next step and go out and see your property.
Mm-hmm. Well, what we find is, when people connect with your home on the internet, they spend 3 times on your listing, on the listing for your property, for your home. They spend 3 times as much connecting to that home if there's a 3D tour. Now, another thing, and so from a sales standpoint, they really connect. In most cases, as a matter of fact, the 3D tour software can let you know if they've gone through the entire house, how many people have gone to that tour. So it'll help sell your house faster. But here's another important thing in this COVID environment that we're dealing in, is that if somebody has gone through a complete 3D tour of your home and they still want to come out and see it, that's a really, really qualified buyer. And so
let's talk about why, Mark. I know you and I were chatting before we went live about the really cool feature of the 3D to be able to calculate the room measurements. So
that's right.
Let's talk about that. So, that to substantiate why they're super qualified, and your chances of getting that buyer to fall in love with the property are much higher, because there's no guesswork, of going, well, I wonder if my bedroom suite will fit. They know the dimension, right?
Exactly. Well, a lot of realtors prefer home tour software called Matterport.
Okay.
It's very popular, and what Matterport allows you to do is click and actually walk through their home.
Okay.
And they're not the only company that does this. There's a couple of other companies, but Matterport uses something called artificial intelligence. And so what that camera does, it's a camera that takes a 180 picture on each side, and then the software stitches that together and makes a 360. And so what Matterport does is it measures the entire room as it's taking those images. And so the end result for you, the home seller, or for the person buying a home, is you can go to a Matterport tour. There's a link in the screen as you look at your computer, and actually measure rooms to determine, if you have a sofa and you want to know how if it'll fit. You can actually measure the rooms, measure each wall through the entire house. You can measure the ceilings.
That's awesome.
Recently, I had a realtor that she sold the house. She already had the buyer. They were about to close in a week. And she goes, "We want to shoot a Matterport video." I said, "Why? You've already, the house is already sold." She goes, "We want to give it to the decorator."
Ah.
And so now the decorator, who was in Austin, and
Right.
the clients in Houston, now the decorator in Austin can walk through the house and go, "Oh my God, this carpet's terrible," or and measure rooms and walls, measure for curtains.
That's a great idea. Yeah,
And that saves them a drive to Houston.
Exactly.
Software.
Technology, isn't it amazing? I design and redesign work myself, so I have to keep that in the back of my mind. So you mentioned Matterport, Mark, and I know you currently have a company that does the 3D. Do you use a different software that's similar, or?
No, we use Matterport.
You do use Matterport.
And that was actually by request of realtors. They actually wanted Matterport.
Ah, okay. They like that one as their top choice.
Well, there's some other Ricoh is a camera manufacturer, and Ricoh has a tour, but it's a little bit of a different experience than the Matterport. But the Matterport lets you walk through the entire house.
Yeah, and that. Yeah, I think that gives the potential buyer, like you said, it gives them more of a connection to the space.
Right. And Pat, what the work that you do with staging and getting that home ready to show, it's so important to have that done before that 3D home tour is done. So we can, so that 3D home tour can benefit from all the work that you've done. Actually, 3D home tours really became popular after the first wave of COVID hit, because people, realtors started to realize, man, I need to sell this house. I'm concerned that people are gonna, people are, sequestered in their homes, and so so COVID kind of resurged the 3D home tours, I think.
Awesome, and I think that's why there was a lot of pent up buying and selling for that, what seemed like forever lockdown period. So what a great, everybody's using the term pivot, and what a great pivot to, it's like Zoom consultations. I did them before, but not as much as I, do them now, because use technology, whether it's a distance thing or a time thing. It's efficiency, and what a way to get your product out there, to get your home out there, for that visual, emotional connection through the 3D Matterport. So is there a price limit? Do you suggest like every home can benefit from Matterport? Where do you find kind of the sweet spot?
Well, it's interesting you mentioned that. The real estate market recently has been so hot, specifically in my market, in my local community. It's been so hot, we would have houses go on the market and sell 12 hours later.
Right.
And so it would sell before I had time to go out and do a Matterport, before our photographers had time to shoot.
Or stage sometimes.
Yeah. And so the market was moving that fast. What happens, I think you'll notice it. So in a seller's market where there's multiple people already bidding on that house because they want that neighborhood,
right,
that price point, and that view and that location.
Yeah.
You don't need a Matterport. But when the market flips to more of a buyer's market, and that'll happen, the market, especially now as we go into the fall and the holidays, it slows down a little bit. There's more competition for people that want to buy your property. And so, I think that 3D home tours will become more effective. Right. But it'll be, it's more needed it's not really needed in a seller's market when the market's moving fast anyway.
Sure. Now, does 3D that doesn't include, like, that's not the drone photos, right? Where you do aerial.
No,
Okay.
no.
So that's a different animal.
And down here in our market, we use drone photos a lot, because a lot of the properties that we sell have views. They have views of the bay or views of the ocean.
Right.
And so whenever we almost all the time, when we list a house down here, we want to have drone shots, and we take that drone high enough so we can show the property, the home,
right,
and then how far it is to the beach. I mean, the beach is right there.
That's what people want to know in Galveston.
Yeah, but we use a lot of drone photography.
Do you? Down
here, for sure.
Now, do you do your own 3D Matterport, Mark, or do you sub that out?
I do most of it myself, and I have one other photographer that helps me.
Okay. And what is your area for folks who are listening who maybe want to have that technology? They're looking to list their home.
Just the metropolitan area.
Okay.
So I charge, and it's $139 up to 3,000 square feet.
Wow.
And if it's over 3,000 square feet, it's $208.
Okay. And so, like, do you do North Houston, the Woodlands area?
We've got another photographer up there
that handles the north side.
And Lisa, I can give you his information.
Okay.
I don't have it right now though.
Okay, no, that's fine. We're gonna record this, of course, and put it on YouTube. So just a little plug for folks out there. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Ta-Da by Cat. We're working towards getting 100 subscribers so we can get our own unique URL. We're more than halfway there. We would love to have you join us, and you'll be notified if you push the bell. You'll be notified when we have new content. So if you're unable to watch, or you want to watch back programs, we have a variety of topics on this show. And if there's topics that we haven't talked about and you'd like to hear about, let us know. We're always looking for guests. I think this is our 20th episode. I found that it's not as easy as I thought to find people who are comfortable in front of the camera. I thought everybody was. Gosh, I know a billion realtors, but not everybody is. So if you know anyone who's not camera shy and would like to talk about anything from, right now we can't get inspectors. So I think I'm going to talk to a realtor in the next week or two about inspections and why they're so important, because our inspectors are so busy right now. It's hard to get one that's free, right? But yeah, from title company, inspectors, realtors, of course, decorating, design, anything to do with a home. There's a bazillion topics. I need to sit down and just go through the 500 topics or so that there are. But please subscribe to our channel, Ta-Da by Cat. You'll search it and pull it up. And if you do that before Thanksgiving and you private message, there's a $5 Starbucks card in it for you. You got to send me your address so I can mail it. Yes, we're bribing you to subscribe, but I know you'll enjoy it. At any rate, so thanks for letting me get in that plug in. Mark, is there anything, we're trying to keep this close. We've got about 5 or 6 minutes. Is there anything that you haven't shared that you'd like to share with our viewers?
Yeah, so here's a thought. If you have a piece of some property and you're possibly interested in selling here in the near future, and you're considering hiring a realtor, here's a simple question that I would ask any realtor that you're hiring. What are you going to do for me and my property above and beyond simply listing it on the MLS?
Oh, I love it. I love it. Have you heard about the 3 Ps?
No, I have not.
Okay, so I'm sure it's not any realtors out there that's listening to this, but what you just mentioned, Mark, is so poignant, because many realtors do the 3 Ps when they take your listing. They put it in MLS. They put it in MLS. They put a sign out and they pray that it sells. I
am going to write that down.
That's not. It's from one of the big box folks that I used to be with years ago. The 3 Ps. You don't want a realtor that does the 3 Ps. I personally, because I'm an owner of a very successful staging company, I believe that the most strategic marketing effort you can do with measurable results is staging.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I know Mark believes that too. Most realtors do, to whatever degree.
I agree.
The place needs to look good, because if not, Mark, when you take a listing, you're spending money before you have any money in your pocket. And if your sellers aren't on board with that, you are just throwing your money away. Now, for the guys who have thousands of listings, they don't care. They just want the sign out so they can get sign calls. But, when I used to actively sell real estate and I was on a listing appointment, I would tell the sellers, look, I'm interviewing you as much as you're interviewing me, because if you're not on board with getting the property prepared, then we're probably not a good match, because I'm going to spend a lot of money and time and effort.
I'm going to invest money. Right? Yeah.
I need a sold sign, not a for sale sign. So what are some?
It breaks a photographer's heart. It breaks a photographer's heart to come out and photograph a property.
Oh.
And it's cluttered and it hasn't been staged, and you can have a beautiful $1 million home and the best photographer on the planet, but if you still have clutter in there and it's not staged, you only get one chance to make a first impression.
Oh, thank you. One of my bazillion coined phrase: you never get a second chance to make a first impression.
That's right. And marketing your home is no different.
Yeah, that is so true. So, besides, the presentation, which we've talked about, staging, great photos, Matterport, what are say 2 other things that set you apart, or that you would say look for in your realtor that they're going to do above and beyond what I call the 3 Ps?
Like I said, you want to ask your realtor what they're going to do above and beyond listing you on the MLS. So for my office personally, we do open houses. Mm-hmm. We love to do open houses on the weekends. My real estate, I personally on LinkedIn have 25,000 followers on LinkedIn. That's 25,000.
25,000. Oh, that's.
And so amazing. When I do a post on LinkedIn, I'll get 5,000 or 6,000 views of that post. So any house that I list on that I'm marketing, that's one of my clients, will post that to my LinkedIn media. And so that's substantial social media that we put it out on there. And we'll also cross market with other realtors. Mm-hmm. I've got other realtors and they're, they love to cross market. So I'll have other realtors market your property on their websites.
Yes.
Because they might have a buyer that's perfect for your home.
Absolutely.
That's one thing that I do love about the real estate business, is that back when I was in finance, you competed against other stockbrokers, but the real estate business is a collaborative business. And as a consumer, someone who's buying or selling a home, we work together, the realtor representing the buyer and the seller, and to create a good solution. So I love that collaborative environment, and I think it works out best for the clients.
That's awesome. And that's for all of you that are listening and looking to possibly sell your home or are selling your home, having a realtor that's very well connected, particularly in social media, relocation companies, a large brokerage that they work for, that they can cross, as Mark says, be collaborative. And one thing I've found out is be wary of I'm not going to name names. I don't really have any names at the top of my mind, but be wary of, say, a larger brokerage that says, oh, no, we don't do open houses. They don't work. People don't buy houses.
Oh, they do work.
Well, I hate to tell you. Yeah, I staged and sold a home that had people in line to come in, and we sold it at top dollar with multiple offers at an open house. And I hear this story from my realtor partners all the time. So to me, I'm sorry, that's just, unless they've got another reason for it, that's just being lazy. Even if they can't do it, there's plenty of new realtors out there who would be happy to host your open house, because it helps them get leads. So, find a way, but find a realtor, who does do open houses, because they do work.
Another thing that we do, Kat, is that when we do a listing within that neighborhood, we mail out 100 high quality announcements that house is on the market. Wonderful. And the reason we do that is that a lot of times, and I've seen this from open houses, a lot of times people that come in that open house say, hey, I live 2 streets over, and my friends wanted to like this neighborhood, and they wanted to come see this house. And so a lot of times neighbors will bring somebody to buy your house.
Oh, many times,
Oh, yeah.
I used to tell people, hey, oh, we're just neighbors. That's okay. We love nosy neighbors because what best for someone to pick
They want to pick their own neighbor.
Pick who they want to live next to.
That's right. That's right.
So that's absolutely awesome. Well, I love that you're so proactive. And if anyone would like to reach, what's the best way to reach you? We're going to put your contact information, Mark, on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe.
Right.
Mark.
Thank you.
But if you'd like to, what's the best way to reach you? Is it phone? Is it social media? If someone wanted to contact you right away before we upload this?
Telephone.
Telephone. Okay. And that number is?
713-410-8899.
Repeat that.
713-410-8899. And the last name is pronounced Diehl. I tell folks any other deal is no big deal. So
I love that. I love that slogan. Yeah. So Mark will get you a deal whether you're buying or selling, and he's got a plethora of experience and takes real estate to the next level. And we coined that in our ta-da, next level staging and design. And I love that you do that, Mark. Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope everyone has a fabulous weekend. Go out and pay it forward with positivity. Stay positive. Stay hopeful and stay connected. And I'm so glad you connected with me and Mark today. Connect with us next Friday. We are going to have an amazing, I hesitate to say celebrity guest because I think Mark's a celebrity. I think you're a celebrity. I think everyone is a celebrity.
Celebrity du jour.
We do kind of have a big deal celebrity who's going to be joining us next week. But thank you so much, Mark. So
thank you, Kat.
And thank Lisa. And y'all make it a great weekend.
Hey, thank you. Thanks for having me.